Alright, this is, I'm going to do my best to not read the slides, so that means that Matt Menchie, you need to have your head up and watching what we're doing. This is basically lobbying reforms. This is really a question about how much money should be involved in politics. And if you don't know who the lobbyists are, then it's hard to regulate. Remember, lobbying was basically, the word comes from the fact that President Ulysses S. Grant would get drunk at the hotel next to the White House, and people would wait in the lobby to ask him favors. And so today, we have professional lobbyists who essentially are going around advocating. And so essentially this first law, the Lobbying Act of 1946, basically it's trying to make sure that they know who the lobbyists are. Because if they know who the lobbyists are and then what they're doing, because they have to file those statements, essentially that would allow government to have an idea of what they're doing. Then the next law, the Federal Election Campaign Law of 71, put a limit, not a limit, but basically we needed to know how much money or where the money was coming from. And this is really the question now, like those super PACs, we don't always know who is funding them. And if we don't know who's funding them, then how do we know do we need to know? And that's an interesting question. If we don't know, it means that it could be one person who is advocating for a particular policy. All right. So basically, reporting donations is this. All right, then next, the Federal Election Campaign Act was passed. And basically, what this did was it created, I think what the important piece here is it created the FEC, which, of course, if you guys remember from the Stephen Colbert Super PAC videos, Trevor Potter was one of the commissioners of the FEC. It also prohibited foreign contributions, meaning that money cannot come from China or from other nations. I believe that President Clinton had to return certain money that came from China in one of his elections. I'll be honest with you, matching funds no longer really exist, but, there was a point in time when the government was the people running for president were able to get a certain amount of government money to go to a presidential campaign. But people have raised so much money now that has outstripped the amount of money that is offered. And then it also set limits for how much money could be donated. And so this was $1,000 for individuals, $5,000 to PACs, and $20,000 to the parties. And yet there was still too much money in campaigns, basically from lobbyists. So we can see another attempt to try to limit the amount of, or put more government controls on who is a lobbyist and what lobbyists have to do. Finally, you have the McCain-Feingold Act, the McCain-Feingold Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act, which we've talked about multiple times. And this basically was the last law that was passed to try and rein in spending in campaigns, which is obviously directly related from lobbyist groups. So essentially you have the limit currently is $2,500 for an individual limit. That means $2,500 can be given in the primary, and another $2,500 can be given to a presidential candidate, excuse me. However, all of this has been made completely irrelevant by the Citizens United decision, and we're going to watch a quick video about that in a second.